behind a glitz and a glam, there's a darker story lurking, one that's gonna leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Puff Diddy. Now, if you're not sure why Diddy should be jailed, well, here's more reasons for you to stop and be pissed off about the fact that he ain't already in there.
Left with, now everywhere you go, it's the same old song. The bitches giving up, it's the bitches getting on. Bitches coming up, but bitches got it wrong. Those bitches in a rush only last so long. I've been at the same castings with Cassie. We was both modeling out in Miami. Out of 300 girls, she's the only one picked. Sean John shit, now it all makes sense. She was getting all the jobs, they was like he really loves her. Come to find out it was cause Diddy does her. Fuck making bands, she was making that a man. He gave her a contract and ain't signed none of them. And that be that bullshit that makes me pissed. I was cool with Puff, he loved my sis. She was cool on Puff, made him sick and that was new to Puff. Made him trip, he went to all extensions trying to get attention, showing off his mansion and his plaque collection. He was used to bitches laying down with quickness. Most chicks be with it, but I'm glad she didn't. And I respect that shit more than this money. I don't accept that shit if you could take it from me, especially from a hand that holds it over me, especially from a man that don't belong to me.
Okay, so that very same casting mentioned in the music video, yeah, she filed a lawsuit which details a lot of sexual abuse, along with some other unmentionable things in a shocking move. Said nobody ever. Diddy settled the suit and paid her off outside of court now. While they were together, the glitz and on-camera deceit got some people wishing for their relationship, and according to Jaguar Wright, one of them was Young Miami.
$250,000 a month to do strange shit at will. You couldn't wait for Cassie to run. You couldn't wait to be in Cassie's shoes. Carisha. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my motherfucking name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you?
$250,000 a month to do strange. Ain't no party quite like a Diddy party, but it might not be the kind of fun you're looking for. I'm not just talking about the buff dudes working security. It's more about the folks who end up in uncomfortable situations. At a Diddy party, you're more likely to face sexual harassment than have a good time. You can't even walk around without someone getting in your personal space. Don't trip and try to catch yourself. No one wants to accidentally grab something they shouldn't. Wish I were joking, but the rumors about these parties suggest there's a lot of truth to them. There are accounts from people who say the vibe is all sorts of messed up. Take Uncle Luke, a hip-hop legend known for his party scene, but even he couldn't handle the atmosphere at Diddy's parties. Diddy invited him to be in a music video, but Uncle Luke declined. The setup seemed too intense. Despite the big names like Lil Wayne and Drake involved, he just wasn't into it. It wasn't his scene, regardless of how flashy it looked. Diddy even offered to send a jet to bring him over, but Luke wasn't having it. After the video wrapped, there were articles about it suggesting he was involved, but he wasn't. People started asking him about his appearance in the video, and he was like, I don't know anything about this. It seemed like there might have been some beef between him and the rest of the crew, but he made it clear there was none. When asked if French Montana or Diddy cut him a check, he said he didn't need it. If it was done properly, maybe he'd consider it, but he wasn't interested in accepting money just because it was offered. Not all money is good money. I was about to ask if you partied with Diddy often, but then realized you probably didn't. You mentioned you'd attend the party and leave early, which makes me wonder why you didn't stay longer. I'd go to the party and leave early. I didn't stick around because I wasn't interested in seeing what happened later in the night. You said, I wasn't there to find out what goes on after hours. I knew my place. That's why I left early. When Uncle Luke appeared on the Stephen Smith Show, he revealed that he believed that whatever Diddy is going through is orchestrated by powerful individuals he has offended. This includes the company he sued and won against, which led to a drop in their stock prices. They allegedly raided his homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The fact that these raids occurred during the day surprised many, including Uncle Luke. I never thought I'd see that happen in broad daylight, he said. Usually, when federal agents raid, they do it early in the morning when people are asleep, but they came in broad daylight. What do you make of that? Luke suggested suggested that this daylight raid was a grandstand move designed to send a message. It was a big spectacle because it happened in broad daylight. It's a signal that this is how they operate, he explained. It was all over the news. Everyone saw it. They were even grabbing Diddy's kids, which I had an issue with. They weren't after the kids. They were after him. It could be traumatizing for these kids. They're not used to this. They don't come from the streets. They live the good life, thanks to their parents. Luke added, when you cut deals with major corporations like Diddy and Kanye West, you need to know your place. These corporations can end up owning you in some ways, and you need to know how to navigate that. I don't think Diddy played the game the right way. It's important to be prepared if you're planning to take legal action against Diddy. He is a powerful figure with deep political connections. Politicians generally like him, and his brand is among the most well-known liquor brands in the world. This allows him to fund political campaigns, giving him influence. This is why I think he's in serious trouble. I don't have any insider knowledge, and Diddy has always treated me with respect. I don't want to imply anything without evidence, but he's being investigated for alleged involvement in a sex trafficking ring. I hope he's innocent, but I'm not privy to the facts. In big business, you risk making powerful enemies, and those enemies may have dirt on you. This doesn't necessarily mean a crime or jail time, but it can be enough to ruin your reputation. Some believe that Diddy's career is over after the recent raid on his premises. Despite his efforts to live a normal life, it seems people won't stop exposing him. If this scandal was one of his marketing stunts, he'd be happy with the attention. However, the reality seems to be different. People are calling him Mr. Fix-It because he's running around trying to manage the fallout. Many people are discussing recent events surrounding Diddy, saying things like, I don't know if he's going to jail, but his career's over. Honestly, they're probably not far off from the truth. This isn't just about cancel culture. People point out that where there's smoke, there's fire, but in this case, it's like the whole house has already burned down. Diddy is notorious in certain circles, and it's not just one incident, it's a series of stories and allegations, ranging from what happened with Cassie to other disturbing accusations. For example, a former security guard who once worked for Michael Jackson and was the first person on the scene when Jackson died, has suggested that Diddy might be involved in some shady activities, including shooting someone and then having the incident cleaned up by his team. These stories have fueled rumors of misconduct, infidelity, and even allegations of homosexual activities involving Diddy and other celebrities like Meek Mill. Every time a new video surfaces, people begin speculating and making assumptions about his behavior, fueling the narrative of Diddy being involved in questionable activities. Regarding the facts, there's a lot of uncertainty and hearsay. While there are numerous accusations of misconduct and reports of Me Too incidents, it's challenging to pinpoint the truth. There was also a recent lawsuit involving Diddy and his liquor company, which he supposedly won, indicating that he might be settling legal issues in his favor. Rumors suggest this lawsuit involved allegations of racism, but the exact details are murky. Overall, there's a lot of speculation, and people are drawing conclusions based on a combination of accusations, rumors, and personal biases. The entire situation is complex, and the truth might be somewhere between the allegations and the legal outcomes. A billionaire or something like that. He just needs to avoid jail, and then he can move on with his life. He settled with Cassie in record time, even though they'd been together for about a decade. The fact that they settled so quickly after the story broke in the blogs suggests that they had been negotiating for a while. Maybe he wasn't meeting her demands, and she decided to go public. But as soon as she did, they settled for around $30 million within 24 hours of her going public. After that, she released a statement about how they resolved their issues, though I'm not sure of the exact words. Meanwhile, there's a lot of drama with other artists, like Meek Mill, who called him out. There's also some beef with 50 Cent, who's known for not backing down once he's got you in his sights. If you're on his bad side, it's rough. He's relentless. He's had feuds with people like Floyd Mayweather and Ja Rule, and he doesn't play around. 50 Cent is quite a charismatic guy, even though he's always stirring the pot. He's working on a documentary about some serious allegations and plans to donate the proceeds to charity. He's known to be a troll, and he has a way of getting under people's skin. I remember when he was mocking Floyd Mayweather, challenging him to read a page from a Harry Potter book for $500,000. These guys were close friends, and it's fascinating how quickly things can turn in the entertainment industry. Oh, that's his business. I'll let him explain that to you, but they were really close, so it's probably a public story. I'm not sure. I know he mentioned something to me, but I'll let him share his business. There's a part about 50 that gives me this man's man vibe. He's got that aura. Even the way he respects Eminem, you have to love how he praises M. He's a loyal guy who really gets people. From a young age, he understood social dynamics. He once told me that when he was 12 or 13, he was raised by older guys and observed them, saying, "You don't get to talk much with the older guys. You're just watching the power dynamics, seeing how things work." He shared some crazy stories with me, but I'm not sure if I should share them. Regarding the recent arrest of Keef D in connection with Tupac Shakur's murder, everyone is shocked that a case that was cold for 27 years is now so close to being solved. The suspect confessed to being involved back in 2008 and has been open about handing the gun to Orlando Anderson, his nephew, who then pulled the trigger, shooting into the car where Suge Knight was driving, with Tupac as the passenger. Tupac was killed and Suge was shot but survived. People are wondering how Suge Knight feels about the arrest and if he will testify. I spoke with him briefly while he was on a jailhouse phone. He seemed surprised, not expecting anyone to be arrested, nor does he wish that on anyone. Suge noted that he played football with Keef D and would never wish prison on anyone, even his worst enemy. According to the DA, Keef D was in the car with his nephew, who supposedly shot Tupac, but only 2 people were in that car, and neither Suge nor Tupac would tell that story. Suge stated that Orlando wasn't the shooter and mentioned that he came to his hearing to testify. "I was told to leave, and I told them the truth, but they still wouldn't let me go. If you were called to testify in this case, would you go?" "No, I wouldn't." "Why not?" "Well, for one thing, because I'm not going to take the stand and testify against someone, especially not when people are implying that Orlando was the shooter and Kefi was in on it, having full knowledge of what was happening. They claim it was revenge for Orlando getting beaten up by Tupac and his crew at the MGM after the Tyson fight. Is that correct?" "No." "Then who shot Tupac?" "It was O'Cent, and that's all I have to say on that matter. To summarize, you're saying Orlando wasn't the shooter, although you're not revealing who the shooter was. You're not commenting on whether Kefi was involved in the shooting in any way. If you're called to testify by either side, you're not going to comply. You will not testify. Is that correct?" "I wouldn't go. I won't testify." At the end of the day, it's free Kefi. It's interesting that Suge is now pulling back from Kefi's own statements, suggesting that Orlando Anderson was not the shooter, which has been widely believed on the streets and confirmed in interviews. Kefi D himself stated that Orlando was the one who pulled the trigger, and Orlando Anderson died a couple of years after Tupac in a separate shooting. Everyone else in that car, there were 4 people, has died except for Keefe. Now, Kefi has said he was involved, but Suge is at least hinting that he's not involved in the way the district attorney believes. It's a complex case. Suge is indicating that it wasn't Orlando Anderson, but he's not naming who it might be. This makes me feel like his denial doesn't hold much weight, because Suge is not one to snitch or testify. It's evident from his refusal to testify. I doubt the Las Vegas DA is counting on Suge's testimony. They're likely focusing on Keef D's statements instead. This suggests that there's a high probability the real culprit behind the death could be someone else if Keef D chooses to cooperate, which he likely will to save himself. It's hard to imagine anyone willing to take the fall for someone like P. Diddy right now, especially considering his reputation and alleged abuse. Someone asked me about Drake's decision not to respond to recent events, and I told them I respect it. When we faced Tupac's Hit 'Em Up, I had to call Biggie and tell him that responding would be dangerous. It could lead to violence. I don't know how things will turn out, but I get why Drake might choose not to engage. Tupac's Hit 'Em Up was harsh, and it stung. Even to this day, if you played that track in front of us, we'd snatch your turntables. Similarly, when Jay-Z and Nas had their beef, hearing Ether still evokes strong emotions. Despite them being friends now, it's one of those things that lingers, and the intensity never quite fades. I never took offense to it. I actually found it pretty funny, the way I was portrayed in the video. It was entertaining, and I'm not going to play it at my birthday party, but it was a good laugh. Can you imagine a time when we could all come together and make an album? Well, that's not really on the table. There's no dream of making an album with Biggie and Puffy or anyone like that. We're not chasing that kind of thing. We're peacefully coexisting right now because we're all cool. Everyone is here doing their own thing, making making their own records. But let's be honest, they sell some records, while we sell a lot of records. What's your opinion? Do you think P. Diddy deserved the 100+ years in prison? We welcome your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with your friends. Let's spread the word.